Hi everyone, this video is for those of you who are starting to get into Fude but are overwhelmed with the endless choices there are. My favorite face brushes just happen to overlap with what I would recommend to beginners. If you like round and tapered brushes, then stick around and I hope you'll find some brushes that you'll love from my recs. This will be part 1, which will focus on goat. And the reason why is because I love goat hair the most, and they're also the most versatile in terms of picking up product, application, blending, being soft enough for most skin types, and resilience. You can use goat with any type of product and the hairs are resilient enough to not break, unlike with squirrel hairs. You can also wash them more frequently than with squirrel hairs. Keep in mind that my favorite brushes may not suit you because everyone is different. I'm very specific with brush shapes, hair lengths, and densities of the brushes that I like. And I narrowed it down to a few from each category. To give you a better understanding of why I like these specific brushes, I'll explain and elaborate on my skin type and preferred makeup finishes because they're correlated with one another. And if you don't care about this part, then I'll put in the description box like the time mark for when you can skip ahead and see my favorite brushes. Anyways, so I have combination skin. That means, well, for me, I have like an oily nose and the surrounding area, and my eyelids are oily as well when it's warm, and occasionally my forehead gets oily. My chin and my cheeks are normal to dry depending on the season, and my cheeks and eyelids are very sensitive. I love pigmented products and prefer that my brushes are able to pick up an ample amount of product so I can apply once and be done with it. I generally don't like building up pigment gradually as I value sleep more and thus am constantly rushing when I'm doing my makeup. Lately, I've come to appreciate building up pigment, but my favorite products and brushes are still ones that give me what I want easily. And I feel that round shapes are the most bulletproof. You can apply, buff, and blend easily. I focus on base, eyeshadow, cheekbone highlight, and blush on a daily basis. Sometimes I don't even wear blush, but yeah, it just really depends. My daily base is a dewy tinted moisturizer, and I actually haven't been setting with powder because my skin has been so dehydrated, but I do foresee using powder again as summer's coming. Everything else like contouring, finishing powder, and full face makeup I reserve for special occasions. And I do not bake. I don't have time to bake. For base, I like medium coverage, so anything that can smooth it onto my face with medium coverage works. The brushes can't be too inflexible, hairs too short, and densely packed, as that will provide full coverage. However, I do have some densely packed brushes with short hairs that provide medium coverage because they're either synthetic or goat, and for whatever reason, my favorite synthetic foundation brushes give medium coverage and goat hair eats less product. I also think it has to do with the amount of product I apply too. So since I already have a foundation brush video and mentioned my favorites in it, I won't really talk about them here except for one that I've been loving lately. I love my blush to be visible, not like a clown, but I'm not into subtle blush. So short and densely packed goat brushes will over apply, so my preferred brushes have longer hairs with a medium density. Targeted blush is also something that I like, but it really depends on how I feel that day. And sometimes I apply in larger surface areas as well. Powder-wise, I want to cover my entire face with a medium layer of it so when the oils from my makeup comes through, it doesn't look it doesn't look oily, but more of a luminous glow. Highlight-wise, most of the time I want pigmented bam in your face highlight, and there are times, however, when I need to tone it down. And sorry, I am like talking a lot. I need to drink water. Okay, so for powder brushes, they're my weakness because they contain the most hair and I love to pet them, so I'm going to start with those. The Chikuhodo Passion PS1 on the left right here is a wonderful gem from the Passion series. It's also fairly affordable in comparison to the other brushes here. Let me just zoom in. So it's very soft for dyed chikuhodo, comparable to hakuhodo's dyed chikuhodo, and soft enough for sensitive skin. Picks up both soft and hard products excellently. Has medium density and flexibility along with the thicker hairs since it's dyed chikuhodo. Oops. Yeah, so you can see the flexibility here. The handle is also cute to boot. And I highly recommend this brush if you're working with a limited budget and only want one powder brush. Like, I really like this brush a lot. And next we have the Hakuhodo J104. This is my favorite chikuhodo powder brush of all time. It's so soft and I just want to rub it over my face all day. I love it so much. The head is the perfect amount of density for me. I love dense brushes, but not overly dense. And this one fits the bill. Gotta focus. It has medium density and flexibility and isn't airy by any means, but has a little bit of airiness to it when you use it. Applies powder beautifully. It will, however, pick up some of your base because you're using it in circular motions. So you can see that, I've used this and there's a little bit of residue. Both this and the Chikuhodo Passion PS1 have hair lengths of 50 mm, which is a perfect length for setting powder, in my opinion. Okay, and then let me just move this a little bit. Next, we have the Hakuhodo Kokutan JMG, and this is for those of you who aren't into round brushes. It's a flattened oval shape, so this is the side profile. You can see that it's not round at all. The front profile makes it look flat. It's made out of undyed chikuhodo as well and has 2 to 3% synthetic hairs mixed in. It also has medium density and flexibility. Ooh, it just shed. That's weird. Okay. I think it feels more dense than the J14 because of the way that it's bundled. It's like less flexible. See, like that. It's a great sweeping powder over the face brush, but it will still pick up a bit of your base. I don't like to pat powder on my face, so I haven't tried it with this, but I think you can also do that. So the patting motion's like this as opposed to sweeping like this. All right. So then next we have the Shou M01, blue one right here. This is the one brush I would recommend to everyone, regardless if you're on a budget or not. It's priced very reasonably and is the cheapest powder brush here. The body is quite round, like an onion bulb with a shorter taper at the top. So my favorite types of brushes are either round or have like this fat body and then a shorter taper. I don't like it when there's a longer taper, but that's just me. So this is the GOAT equivalent to the Suku face brush, the Suku face brushes with the tapered tip at the top. Like every brush is bundled differently, so some Suku brushes are actually like almost completely round and some have a taper, so I'm just comparing it with the ones that have the taper. And this has a medium density and flexibility. So are you seeing a trend here? I don't like floppy or airy brushes or overly dense brushes, so I go for the ones that are in the middle. The hairs are made out of undyed chikuhodo and are comparable to the Passion powder brush. It picks up product nicely without kicking up loose powder once applied to the face. And I buff powder into my base, so I'll apply it like this, and I don't roll it. So some people will, for very tapered brushes like the SJ103 from Hakuhodo, they will dip it into the product, and then they'll roll it on their face first before just like sweeping back and forth, but I just smash it. I just like smash it into my face and then I start buffing. If you like to roll, I'm pretty sure this would work as well. And the tapered shape allows you to use it for other applications like bronzer. And just see how it looks like. Alright, so of course I own many other powder brushes, and some of them that come in second place would be the Shou B317. This is the one with the concave shape. As you can see, it's very, very soft. Let's see, they're around the same softness as the M01. The Tansedo WC20 is actually a blush brush, but I use it for powder, and it's a pretty nice brush. It just sheds a lot, and I love excuse me, I love Tansedo handles. And then I do also really like the Kumamon Kabuki from Koyudo. Alright, I'm gonna start moving stuff around now, so excuse the shuffling. Next we have the Chikuhodo G12. For base, the Chikuhodo G12 has become my favorite summer tinted moisturizer brush when my skin doesn't have many issues. It's made out of Kolinsky, soft enough for sensitive skin. Doesn't absorb as much product as Go. Maintains the dewy finish of my tinted moisturizer because my Goat ones will actually make my finish matte. And yeah, I do appreciate it that it gives me it leaves the dewy finish because my skin has been dehydrated and I want the luminosity. It produces very light coverage, however, and it is small. It allows you to get into the harder to reach areas of the face. And I guess some cons I'd like to point out so you know whether or not to purchase it is that I personally wish it was a little larger and denser, as I don't have a small face and I feel like the coverage is a little too light for me. So if you like light coverage and don't have acne scars or much to cover, you may like this brush. And, excuse me, drink too much water. Okay, so the way that this brush is designed makes it so that you mainly use it vertically. This means that when you're spreading the product, you're pulling down and the product will get into the ferrule. So like this. I mean, on my forehead, I use it horizontally, but on my cheeks and everywhere else, I use it vertically. So it'll get like onto the ferrule right here. And I just wish that the brush was designed differently. All right, let me get to the blush brushes. We have the J110. And do I have anything else? The Yachio WYC G5538 and the MAC. Alright, so for blush, they're actually the most versatile, and they're more versatile than powder brushes. Like you can use blush brushes to set your foundation, you can use it for bronzer, contouring, highlight, and blush, like all of the above. But powder brushes are still my favorite because they have the most hair. And my three holy grail blush brushes for everyday are the Hakuhodo J110, the Chikuhodo Takumi T4, and the Takeda 16 ROV EXS. The J110, while a flattened oval shape, applies product wonderfully. It has silky soft undyed chikuhodo and works really well in picking up medium press to soft press products. So I've already talked about this in a few of my videos and I won't go into detail, but it is a a beautiful brush and it works well. And then the Takumi T4 is my favorite shape for blush and is like a cotton ball on a stick. Let's see here. The hairs are also made out of undyed chikuhodo, with hakuhodos being a little bit more silky. This means that the Takumi is actually better at picking up harder pressed products than the J110 is. And both brushes blend beautifully, and if something were to ever happen to one of them, I'd repurchase them in a heartbeat. Actually, I have the S110, so I already have like a backup of that one. And both of these do cover a larger surface area than the brush I'm going to be talking about next, this one. So this is the Takeda 16 ROV EXS. It's the first Takeda brush I ever bought, and my favorite from all of the Takeda brushes that I have. It has the softest chikuhodo hairs amongst all the ones I bought as well from the Takeda series or from the Takeda brand. And it's also softer and finer than hakuhodos and chikuhodos. It works well with soft pressed blushes and doesn't pick up glitter particles, which is something that I like because I don't want the glittery particles on my face. It applies in a targeted area as well, and I'm not sure if I would recommend purchasing it now as the recent EXS hair quality isn't as good as this one. So yeah, just proceed with caution if you purchase. Anyways, the next few come in second place. So I do want to discuss a little bit about them. This is the Hakuhodo Yachio Tapered L, and it's an impeccable performer. The hairs are coarser and less silky soft than the chikuhodo from Hakuhodo, so I'm assuming they're made out of sokoho or totsuho. It's still soft enough for sensitive skin. Like, the first time I touched them, I didn't think they would be soft enough for me, but they actually are. So, yeah, I am pleasantly surprised. And it picks up all blush formulas well and deposits color nicely. And then we have the Tanseido YWC17. It's made out of sokoho, and Tanseido sokoho is softer than usual sokoho, and so it is, let's see, it's not as silky as like hakuhodo, but it's definitely softer than the Yachio. And yeah, this is great for targeted blush. It's pretty tiny. Then we have the Hakuhodo G5538. This works well for both highlight and blush. It applies a soft and diffused finish because it's airy. And it's one of the very few airy brushes I like, along with the MAC 137. The hairs aren't as soft as the J110, but still soft enough for me. I think this is sokoho actually. It did shed quite a few hairs already, so I'm hoping it doesn't shed anymore. Because, yeah, better stop. Okay, and here is the MAC 137. If you like feathery blush applications, I think you'll love this one. This is the MAC equivalent to the G5537, and it's the same softness as the Hakuhodo G5538. It sheds strangely in the beginning, but hasn't shed as much as the Hakuhodo variant. All right, and I'm gonna pull out the highlight brushes now. I'll just move these to the side because I'm out of space. So, all right, so we have the Hakuhodo J5521 on the left, and this is my holy grail highlighting brush. It's densely packed hairs. It has densely packed hairs with a round shape and a small taper at the top. Picks up product easily and blends well. However, it doesn't keep its shape well because this is newly washed, but when I use it, it turns very, very round. And the original shape from the Hakuhodo site makes it look like it has a more tapered tip, but mine's really round, and yeah, I love this brush a lot. It's like, I think it's like my favorite hakuhodo brush of all time. And okay, so this is on the right here. This is the Pat McGrath 3 buffer brush, which is the equivalent to the hakuhodo J4002. And the synthetic hairs are pretty long, so the brush head doesn't push into your skin much and moves less of your base. And the synthetic hairs don't pick up the glitter from the highlight, which I also like. It gives a softer finish than the J5521. Let's see the two heads. Alright, almost done. So for bronzer, my favorite brush of all time is the hakuhodo J531. It's my favorite for soft to diffused bronzer application. The head isn't small or too large, and the hairs are made out of undyed chikuhodo. It feels airy, but still has a good amount of hairs packed into the ferrule. Okay, so you can also use this as a powder brush. Showing you how it looks like. Okay, so you can also finish your makeup with goat brushes, so like Hourglass ambient lighting powders or like Guerlain meteorites. But I think they need to be on the airier side so it doesn't move everything underneath. And I don't usually finish with goat brushes, but here are some suggestions. This is the Koyudo Nadeshiko powder brush. It's very, very soft because it uses ancient goat hair, and I talk about this in my my Koyudo video. And it is quite airy. It's like it's got like light density, like light to medium. It's not, it doesn't cut it for me for setting my foundation, so I don't really like to use it, but yeah, this would be better for finishing powder. Also the Koyudo BP06, which I talked about in my Koyudo videos, and the MAC 137 I think you could finish with as well because it's so airy. Yeah, and thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.